What'd they say?
Hello, I'm Ewing, and this is my couch.
I'm Sid. I'm washed up. I never was.
I'm thataintfalco. I ran this game 10 years ago and gave him my cartridge. Now he's playing on it.
Yes, I am. So I'm going to be going through any %, which just goes through the game as fast as possible. You guys want to give me a countdown?
Sure. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
All right.
All right. So now we got to hurry up and wait for about a good, what is it, 20 seconds? 30? 30.
Yep.
36.
One of the things is we are using the Japanese copy. It actually saves a good 45 seconds because all the cutscenes in this game. In X1's a very small amount. X2 it's about 30, but for X3 it's really important to use a Japanese cartridge if you want super competitive times. But I believe the leaderboard still uses a conversion to cut out that time just in case you're using English.
Yep. Yeah, it's significant, and also the cost of this game is crazy.
Yeah.
May as well get the Japanese version. And there goes the run.
Yep. All right, so right off the bat here, you'll notice we're actually using the lemons, or dash lemons, as a lot of people refer to them as. They're not as powerful in X3 as they are in X1 and X2. Unfortunately, they do double damage, but only to the first boss here and the normal enemies. Every other boss after that will take normal damage from it, so we won't be using the lemons outside of very specific purposes. We also get captured here pretty quickly on. Game gives us a taste of actually getting to use Zero here in a moment, and this is the first and borderline last time we will see him. Unfortunately, the game's designed in such a way that Zero can't get into any of the boss doors without forcing an immediate swap back, and it takes about 10 seconds to switch to him, and about 10 seconds to switch back, so we absolutely do not want to do that unless we need to.
And he's kind of unwieldy anyway, so
Yeah, he's a bulky character.
He's got a kind of weird hitbox. Up here, we're just going to take the climb, take these hits, because it's a little bit quicker to get back up the wall. There's a lot of micro optimizations you could do to save little bits of frames here and there, but a lot of them are not super amenable to a marathon run. So we go for consistency over those nice little frame savers, because if you mess them up, they lose way more than just a few frames. So the risk reward is just not there.
Yeah, I entered that fight in a specific position because you get locked into that thing. So I try to kill the thing at a specific position.
Yep.
And here's the intro boss. He takes a lot of... Weapons do a lot of damage against him.
Yeah, pretty much everything does a ton of damage. So we do a little strat there, and we're not going to continue doing that because it's really risky. The maces here will block our shots. But what we did at the beginning there is what's called a CFO strat. Maho takes the dash lemon damage, so he takes 2 from those. But by shooting it from a significant distance away and then moving in, it allows us to set up the iframe so that we can min-max the damage. It's not particularly difficult once you learn it, but it is a very steep learning curve. And for this boss, it's quite dangerous. You can save a bit of time doing it, but
it's risky.
It's not worth it with the maces, because it's random whether they activate or not. Going to start with any % here and head into Buffalo. We get 2 bosses, and then we're going to have some side bosses start showing up. So the order is incredibly important in this category to make sure things are optimal as smooth as possible. The ice physics in this stage are really cool and will lead to a lot of super fast movement that we can set up, still using the dash lemons and half charges to kill everything, because a lot of the regular enemies have barely any health at all.
The regular enemies are so annoying in this game.
Yeah, they're somewhere between the least consequential things in this entire game and the thing you will curse the most. But yeah, a lot of this is just maintaining the dash speed on the ice, and there will be a few slope jumps that we make. It's a kind of a glitchy jump where you hold left on ice, or if you hold left as you're going down a slope, you get an extra large jump arc. Unfortunately, it's really hard to see without knowing what the regular jump arc looks like, so you're just going to have to trust me on that one, that this is a thing we're doing. We're also going to be grabbing the upgrade here, the boots. This will be the only capsule we actually pick up. X3 has a lot of drops. There's the 4 main armor pieces. There's 4 robots that you can also pick up that will allow you to explore the areas a little bit more that we won't be touching as well. And the basic 8 harps and 4 sub-tanks. So there is a lot to 100%. Any percent, the boots are all we need, at least from the main capsules. Here, the boots are going to help us actually set up for an additional CFO strat. Like I was talking before, the theory is kind of the Doppler effect, and if you know what I'm referencing, you kind of get it. But the idea is we space these shots out in such a way that we hit Buffalo as soon as invincibility goes away, so that he's back in the invincibility as soon as possible. It is fairly hard to set up, and you can do this pretty easily, but we had him break out a little bit there. This is the normal strat that a lot of runners do. It's not terribly fast in comparison, but it is much safer. The important part is just not letting Buffalo grab you with the horns because you get dragged across the stage or get hit with the ice beam, so that could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, at that point I failed it. Just do the regular strat, which his line of sight is like really bad. So if you just jump at a specific time, he just can't see you and just goes to the wall.
There's like 3 or 4 different visual cues that you can go for to jump. You can usually just turn him around with a jump, but the air dash also makes that a lot easier, but it's a bit slower because you waste so much time on the animation. Gonna head into Seahorse here and start following the boss order. Seahorse is going to be weak to ice, and one of those mini bosses that I referred to is also weak to ice. So we want to come in here and get through this right now, because the mini boss that's normally in this stage and the boss are all weak to ice. So we really don't have a ton of weapon energy for ice to actually kill them all as efficiently as possible, especially if Bit spawns here. It's a really big reset point for 100% because you have to take the risk of coming in here.
Yeah, and ice just does a ton of damage to a lot of mini bosses.
Yeah, ice not only hits heavily, but it actually drops another pellet when it hits an enemy, and those end up hitting multiple times. This room right here is actually really, really difficult, super stealth. Those turtle shells can hit you and knock you back, and it makes movement through there really rough. And if you're super unlucky and you bonk on the wrong one, you fall in the hole and die. Ooh. Ice.
I felt that mash in my feet shaking the stage.
Unfortunately, X3 is a masher's game. It's kind of a shame, but a lot of these bosses require very good mashing. This one is part of the reason why we wanted to do this first, so that we could avoid the secret mini-boss from spawning in here as well and eating up our ice weapon energy. So we get one of many vertical segments. That's kind of more the difference between X1, 2, and 3. 3 has a lot of verticality to it. They really tried to design it in a more, just a different way in general from 1 and 2. And as such, they gave the dash boots also an up air dash, which is fairly slow because it takes the time for it to start. But it will be helpful for a glitch later on that I'll discuss about when we get there, but for now, we'll talk about this guy. So Seahorse can be quick killed. I'll probably be not able to explain it before he's dead. If we hit him with the ice at the full arc of his jump, we'll actually be able to, yeah, I figured.
Yeah, one hit away.
If we hit him at the highest of his jump arc, his invincibility flames glitch out, and it's between 7 and 15. If we hit him as high as he jumps, it's going to be 15, and the lower we hit him is 7. So basically, we hit him with the ice, wait for him to drop down, wait just a bit for those frames to actually, the glitch frames to be what we're hitting him in, and just mash ice into him. But we don't want to overmash, because at some point his invincibility does come back.
Yeah, this is just plot right here. That's Dr. Doppler. He's introducing these two Mavericks. I will have to fight all 3 of them, but only 2 of them are really forced on you. Bit will show up in stages 3 to 5. Bite shows up in 6 to 8, and I will seek out that guy right there. He is vital for the secret upgrade I'm going to be getting in this run. I only get 2 upgrades, and that's the Air Dash and the Z-Saber. Z-Saber comes much later, though, unfortunately.
Yeah, the shadowy figure is somebody you'll recognize if you played X1 at all, but he's actually... He's actually part of the reason why there's a category named 9 Mavs for this rather than 8, because in any percent run will kill that boss in addition to all 8. So the 8 Mavs categories are usually practice race categories, so we decided to include it in that so that it made more sense that everybody was practicing any percent in an efficient manner. Movement through here is actually really tight. Any amount of slowness or missed inputs can very easily get you hit by a rock, or you can get dragged down by the dirt chutes. And not only that, but getting rid of those ceiling screws efficiently and quickly are extremely hard. Oh, here's Bit.
Here you be.
So every time we touch one of these doors, it's like a 50-50 on whether Bit will spawn. He either does or he doesn't.
RuneScape logic. This is why he's bad kid, Sid.
So Bit here, we actually want to shoot him with a regular lemon at the start so that we can kind of set up the damage in a specific way. The ice fangs do 3, but the lemon will do 1. Oh, that's a little bit rough. This is a stage where you want to have a little bit of extra HP, unfortunately. But the whole point that we kill him with the regular buster instead of the ice, and why we go through the effort of shooting him with regular lemons, is because we want to avoid the extremely long explosion animation that Bit has when he dies. Bite also has the same issue. We need to make sure at least one of them are alive, but because the explosion animation is so long, we want to keep both of them alive, so we get an alternate boss that's much easier to fight than the normal one, Press Disposer. So it makes our lives easier. Here is another case in point. This is a Masher's game, unfortunately. There are some funny glitch categories on the PlayStation where you can grab the Z-Saber early. And this guy is part of the reason why I made up the category for it.
He just rams you.
Yeah. Luckily, he has no invincibility, so you can just kind of mash it out. But honestly, it's very easy to die as like an intermediate or a beginner runner there. So some people usually play it a bit safer. Drop an ice here so we don't get rocked by the block. And there we go.
Yeah, it's usually expected to get to this boss with like 1-hit KO scenarios.
Yeah, we really haven't covered it, but the damage in this game is kind of all over the place. In the previous games, like projectiles did really low damage and bonking into enemies' hitboxes did a lot more. It's kind of flopped in this game, not consistently, but somewhat. So a lot of things we'll bonk into the hitbox for like 1 damage instead of getting hit by a projectile. So Rhino here has 2 different phases. Pretty much every boss is like that. His weakness is acid, so we're doing 3 per. And we were counting out the acids there to make sure that we were ready for that dash phase. You kind of see how he's flashing weirdly. That's him going fully invincible. So the setup was to make him just turn around and dash into the wall immediately to cut out the invincibility phase and shorten it as much as possible. And on low health, Rhino is very dangerous.
Yeah, the smart thing was to not do that, but, I'm not smart.
To be honest, it could have been even more dangerous. Doing these kind of strats on 1 health is really risky. Dying to Rhino actually will activate like an alternative AI if you die at any part in his stage. So we would have been able to go right back into the boss immediately, but Rhino would have a much more annoying pattern that's very hard to manipulate. We're going to head into Rhino, or
Shining Tiger is his name.
It always feels weird when I just see somebody go up this side, because I'm used to 100%. We have to go all the way to the end for the E-tank. So there's a couple of wall screws, and if you do that hallway right, there's only 2. Normally there's 3, but we despawned the last one by doing it a very particular way. Yet another fun mini-boss. So we're going to be mashing ice into this guy to try and one-cycle him.
Oh, nice.
Go. Nice.
I thought I messed it up.
So what we're talking about here is that I mentioned before that the ice leaves a little projectile once it hits something and then kind of spawns fangs on the ground. We killed him in such a way that that one that would have spawned and landed on the ground to cause additional lag actually hit him and was deleted so that it minimized the amount of lag. A lot of stuff is we're doing very small things to minimize lag as much as possible. This is a really cool instance right here. I don't know if this is intended, but the drill from Tunnel Rhino actually will delete enemies' hitboxes for a little bit, so we can just slide right through them. It's a weird quirk of the way they function. But weapons in this game are really great. The one we have right now is we have the drill, which will put us in a situation where we can just slide through enemies and ignore them. Ice Fang is good for killing enemies and forcing a health drop. And then we can also use acid to kill an enemy and force a weapon drop. So this game has a lot of utility in its weapons. And there also was a little heart we could have grabbed above the door here, but we don't need that. So Tiger here can be a bit of a nuisance. We can only hit him while he's on the wall or jumping up with a charge shot. If we try to shoot him on the ground with a charge shot, he'll pull his claws up. So we have to wait for him to perform an action before we do that. Luckily, every time he's on the ground and performs an action, it'll reset his iframes immediately, so we can get a fair bit of damage by just mashing, as long as we're looking for his attacks. Ooh. This,
Oh, nice.
Wow.
No charge.
No
That
was really good.
slashes. That's really lucky. He'll usually do some, put up his claw, turn invincible, and then slash at you. So normally what we do is jump over him to make the slash as short as possible, but he just decided not to do any of his phase 2 attacks, which was really nice.
So this is the last stage for like Bit to show up. So because I already defeated him, you know, he's just not going to show up here. And this is the ideal stage for him to show up, though.
Yeah, weapon energy management is a really important part of Mega Man X3 because of the utility that each one of the weapons have. Some of them just do big damage, some of them do really weird things like just kind of chill in air. The drill is really good at also deleting projectiles and keeping you from getting hit. This stage is a really good place where you can kind of use a lot of different weapons to make this stage a lot better. But in general, there is some level of routing to it, to how people decide to go through the stages. And it's yet another vertical one.
Do we have time for a couple quick donations?
Sure.
Yes.
Thank you so much. I have $40 from Blue Candy, our previous runner. $40 for 4 hot dogs. Thank you so much, GDQ. Good luck to the rest of the runners. Time to relax for the week. Thank you. And I have $5 from Zero. X, this may be our most important mission yet. Preventing cancer is just one possibility in your limitless potential. This you so much for your donation.
Yep. So these hallways here actually are pretty tough to get through. Ewing went through them pretty flawlessly. This last area is really rough to not take hits on, and we really would like to get into Catfish with as much HP as possible. Because if we want to do this boss fast, we're going to need to phase tank quite a few hits, assuming he gives us the right patterns. His weakness is drill, but that makes him invincible for a really, really, really long period of time. So we want to avoid using that as much as possible. So we want to use charge shots. What we're looking for is specific patterns. We're not seeing any of the good ones just yet, but we really want to see them late on. We're hoping he gets to the wall here and then does a triple triad, which, that's very unfortunate.
Oh,
we might. Oh, let's go. So yeah, this pattern right now is perfect because we're past the transition phase, so we can get a lot of extra damage. Is this, don't tell me it's 2.
3 drills.
It's 3. Oh.
Very clean.
2 is perfect RNG and very uncommon. 3 is exceptional.
Yeah.
Exceptional play, exceptional luck.
Yeah, I forgot to account for that CFO, I think.
Sid, everyone knows this game does not have RNG. Come on now.
Yeah, I've heard that quite a few times throughout my existence, unfortunately. So we're heading into the bite stages. Bit kind of hopped around and we could just go under him. Bite is a very big boy, so we need to go over him or he will hurt us. This is one of the cases where touching the enemy is not a good idea, so we may see very soon, but...
Yeah, Bite can show up randomly between the next 3 stages, but he has to show up before I'm done with the Mavericks.
Yeah, some of the routing is also to make sure that we have the weaknesses for Bit and Bite by the time...
All right, we're gonna be right back, but we've got some hype for Mega Man X, so let's go ahead and bring those out. I have $25 from Slickify. Super hyped to see Mega Man X3 back at GDQ. It has been amazing. Thank you so much for that donation. I donated $40 for the hot dog tax, so I've got the hot dog tax all taken care of. Sly Dante donates $10, definitely hyped for the start of another AGDQ, and I had to begin by donating towards getting the Great Master Challenge in the Astrobot run, and doing so during a run of classic Mega Man X game. Good luck to Ewing, and let's make this an amazing week. Thank you so much. We are at $13,279 out of $15,000 for that incentive. It does need met before the start of the Astrobot run, but we are already at 88%. When you donate, if you would like to donate towards that that incentive, make sure you select it at the bottom of the screen when you do your donation. Three Wise Llamas donates $25. Mega Man X Hype, putting this towards our other robot pal, Astrobot Great Master Challenge. Thank you so much. Y'all are really coming through for this incentive. Metal Plates donates $25. Watching with my family and my 6- and 4-year-old who said, "Dad, can we donate? How could I possibly say no?" Thank you so much. That's incredibly sweet. And thank you to both of them as well. Anonymous donates $100. There is no comment, but Anonymous, thank you so, so much. All right, and we've now got everything all sorted out. We're gonna go right back into our run. You can take it away again.
And
Yeah, we gotta wait till, yeah, we go.
And
We gotta
wow.
make sure it's a proper time attack.
Yeah,
it's all
video
gonna be done on
games.
screen.
oh, bike shows up now.
I had a feeling, I was like, it's that 50-50.
Oh my God.
Either, why?
Okay, I'm good now.
Okay.
It was weird. Screen went black for some reason.
Yeah, that threw me off a bit. So, Bite here is weak to the drill. This is part of the reason why we route it this way.
Ooh, I messed up the strat.
He comes up pretty late, yeah. Okay, good. At least you got off the fist. So what he does is he knocks you into the ceiling, then punches you into the other wall. And during this whole time, he is putting mines on the other wall, which kind of like suck you in. It was pretty good recovery, honestly. If I got punched into the ceiling, I'd have got whomped into the next wall and lost like half my health. X3 is it's almost a hitless game. You really can't afford to be touched by anything, or you'll die in 1 to 2 hits in almost every scenario, especially towards the end of the game. So we're heading into a secret stage here that's completely optional, but it will unlock a much better power-up if we go through here. Normally this elevator is kind of a godsend because there's so many big HP drops here that you can refill your E-tanks. For a new runner, it is nice to have those there, but you really doesn't come up much unless you're in 100%. So we have the secret shadowy figure of Vile, or Vava, which is what he technically is called in this version. He's weak to a few different weapons, but we only have one of them, which is why we waited till now. There's only like 2 or 3 secret entrances to this stage. One of the early ones is in Buffalo, where you have to go down instead of up the ladder. But we use a charge shot here and then follow up with some ray splash to maximize our damage. We have to be very careful here because our ray splash is just enough to take care of the mech and Vile here. So we need to make sure we land every hit. If we miss one of these shots, we have to be very careful to make sure that we don't waste it. Because one of the things is we have to kill Vile with his weakness. It's not like the fights in the other portion. We actually want the explosion because it will unlock a secret boss that we can fight with Zero that I was referring to earlier. And making sure he explodes is what causes that secret boss to spawn in. So that's why we go out of our way. The upgrade that we will get from this we'll talk about later, but it'll basically put every boss in a 2-shot range. So it'll massively speed up the end game, even though it costs like a couple of minutes to come in here and get it. And it's pretty laggy on the way out because of these explosions, especially in the very last part. So Thunder Triad actually has a really interesting mechanic where if you mash the shoot button, you can actually keep it in that form where it's kind of swapping back and forth over and over again. It's a really cool thing, but it's kind of hard for a newer runner to get used to. But once you get it, it makes your life a lot easier because it basically makes you invincible in some segments.
Yeah, it's especially hard with the default controls because pressing A and mashing Y while jumping with B is tricky.
Yeah. All right. Now argue about your favorite R, L, or A button dash in chat now.
Oh, it's default elite, dude. Easy.
Yeah, no. R shoulder. I'm bad, but
Yeah, bad gets it.
what can I say, man? I grew up with it. I used to play Mega Man X, and then I would get to Chill Penguin and be like, why is my dash not working? And then realize I didn't reconfigure and have to reset the game.
Bad from the cradle to the grave.
So we got down into the sub here. We actually blew up the engine. So now the idea here is that the sub is sinking, so we're climbing up towards the boss room, even though it would have been horizontal a minute ago. This is another quick kill stage. Crawfish is a lot easier to quick kill.
YMCA?
And the Y pose. Is a lot easier to kill in 100% because you can just hit him with the thunder and then hold the charge, and he does a slam attack that does like damage on every frame. We're gonna have to work for our lunch here, where we want to hit him with the thunder. He'll be vulnerable for 120 frames.
Ooh.
And if we mash hard enough, we can 2-cycle. Good work.
Oh, his name in Japanese is Scissors Shrimper. Great name.
Yeah, this is one of the bosses too that will absolutely murder you if you let him touch you. You'll lose all but like 2 health if he dashes into you, and if he grabs you with a claw, you're gonna die. Pretty much, just 100%, so.
Yeah, right now we're pretty much set up for the rest of the game. I mean, you have to, Vial is optional, but the difference between getting his saber, you know, the upgrade, and not is like tremendous, even with the backtracking.
The funny part is it's not even just the damage that it deals, but it'll also enable us to do a glitchy wall jump or a glitchy double jump in the air a little bit later, which I'll talk about when it's actually relevant. We also get to pick up S-Blades here. It has been thrown around to go into Crawfish earlier, but because we want Triad Thunder and the way that that shakes out, because Triad Thunder saves so much time on that boss fight, we can't get it sooner. But S-Blades is a hard carry. These weapons will basically myrtleize anything that's in front of you. And the only downside is it launches 2 blades in front of you, and they both go back towards where you came from at the edge of the screen. So if it doesn't break both blades at the same time, you have to wait for the blade to go off screen before you can use another one, like right there. We would have had to wait till it cleared, which luckily it did. Good vertical climb too. Not taking the elevators is a really important thing in this. Some of the stages, the elevator skips are a little bit harder. That one's a lot more straightforward because it's a very narrow vertical shaft. The only hard part is making sure you don't get shot by the missile guys. Ooh, nice. It's kind of RNG whether you can get through that area without getting hit, but it also requires you to actually play well too, which I wouldn't know what that's like.
And this is like the most normal looking boss in this entire run.
Yeah.
At least in terms of how I fight him.
So we're gonna just straight up use his weakness with the Ray Splash here. We could alternate between Ray Splash and Charge Shots, but it puts us at the mercy of the boss's RNG because sometimes Beatbod here can use his invincibility where he'll dash at you, and if you're trying to use Charge Buster Shots, you won't be able to actually deal damage, so we just kind of spray him.
Yeah.
Spray, no pray.
Yeah, he's random when he does his like invincibility charges, so it's such a massive risk reward.
And you can't even tell that he's doing it because Ray Splash automatically cancels it, so it looks like it's a normal fight, but it's not.
Like there's a threshold for whenever he does his like gravity hold, but even that's not consistent. So
the other thing too is like you have to be careful with the movement too, because if you let him out of his pattern, he can also throw a gravity orb at the top, which will like affect your jump height and stuff. So it can make maneuvering in the boss fight precisely a lot more difficult. So we got one more elevator to come up here. This one is pretty nice. You can do some really cool movement to avoid the air dash here, but it's really hard. I mean, honestly, this movement is rough no matter what. X3 has a lot of like really tight corners that you're coming around. Dude, there's a lot of places where like we double wall kick and then like hold neutral to like grab it. There's a lot of cool little movement tech that's kind of under the hood that you don't really see on the outside if you're not super duper familiar with it. This little guy is weak to acid. It's also nice because it bumps him into the air, so we can like kind of safely stand in one corner and then keep hitting him every time the invincibility frames reset. Easy peasy.
Do you mind if I bring in one quick donation?
Sure.
Thank you so much. I have $25 from Marco. Happy GDQ all. Mega Man speedruns are the best. Ewing is killing it. This goes to the Astrobot incentive because robots rock. We are only about $331 away from meeting that incentive. So keep it on coming, and thank you so much.
Yeah, so you saw right there at the very end, Ewing kind of threw out an ice spike. Like I said, it will enforce an HP drop, so if we have taken a little bit too much damage in any spot, as long as we're aware of it, we can usually throw an ice spike down and get a nice little HP drop. For the most part, we want to avoid the HP drops because it stops gameplay and like fully fills up your HP bar and then lets you resume gameplay. This is more so like a pure time loss, but sometimes you want to have the extra HP rather than risking it, especially with how much damage that some things in this game do. And Hornet is not one of those friendly bosses.
Yeah, he gets hard.
So we normally would use Gravity Well in 100%, which is his actual weakness, but the uncharged Gravity Well just kind of sits there and does tick damage, one tick at a time, and it takes forever. But his half weakness is the S-Blades here, which is basically everything's weakness in this game except for bosses. This is doing 3 damage, so this is about the fastest way to get through here. So the whole route was to maximize the weakness order so that every fight was as quick as possible. Pretty clean fight too. I guess we didn't need that health.
Yeah, he hits hard.
Yeah, if you touch the body, you lose like half your HP, and I'm really not exaggerating. Play it yourself, find out. These things do like 6 and 7 damage. It's very weird.
Well, that's the 9 maps down, so now we get to go to the Doppler stages.
Yeah.
There's only 4 stages left. We will have to do refights because this is a Mega Man game, except those refights are going to go drastically different.
Yeah, we're going to be getting an upgrade right before the refights, so it's going to speed things up massively. We'll actually do a couple of them early on, and then from there we'll actually have some time to kill. I'll let you know when that comes up. But this first stage here, we want to do a lot of particular enemy management with the weapons here. We get the bomb from Hornet here. We also like jump through the top of that ladder in such a way that we get hit by the enemy's projectile, but it kind of like knocks us back in the ladder so we can just instantly jump off the wall instead of like getting kind of stutter stepped. It's a nice little neat movement that is pretty nice. The walls here are the bane of casuals. I'm not gonna lie, I've died to it before. There's a couple of days where I just dropped inputs and I'm like, well.
Yeah, that's what happened there. I wasn't risking it. I'll do an up dash.
Yeah, recovery there is important. You have to immediately know when you've missed your inputs. So right here, we're going to use a charge shot and some ice. That'll do a ton of damage. The reason we're doing ice specifically is we want to wait for it to go across so that we don't have to have X slow walk across the room. We move as far right as possible to minimize the amount of time that X is walking. Right here, we're actually going to do a setup that should make the boss fight a little bit easier. I'll explain exactly what is happening in the boss fight once we get there, but we'll know when we actually get in the boss. Every time I've seen this so far, it's gone right. Hopefully it's not a commentator's curse situation. S-Blades here is really good at getting rid of these wall screws so we don't have to do anything too technical. And this is the reason that we wanted to make sure Bit and Bite were not dead. We could kill one of them, but we would have lost like 10 seconds to explosions. So we will get the God Car Machine, which is both of them configured together, versus the Press Disposer, which would require us to go up and fight a very annoying boss that is mounted on the upper ceiling. It's just not fun. God Car Machine here is a pretty straightforward fight, though. You have to be careful and respect it. This is why. The sabers themselves will kill us, and getting grabbed will kill us as well. Nice.
Yeah, his I can't even explain it, but basically I deleted his hitbox on his like body, because normally you're not supposed to be able to just stand there and like shoot him with the ray splasher. You're supposed to jump and then hit him. So it just makes the fight like consistently safe.
Yeah, there were several of us that he showed, and none of us really picked up on it immediately. The body itself, you'll notice that the upper portion was flashing, but the bottom wasn't, because the bottom is supposed to be 100% invincible. So we loaded things in such a way that it despawned that invincibility. It's kind of similar to the explosion skip, if you've seen that for this Doppler stage. We can't do that for this run, however. Oh, this is a bit unfortunate. This is what happens here sometimes.
Just going to take it down.
I'm going to be honest. This area is very rough.
Yeah, I need the health.
You need the health for the later half of the stage. You need to go into it as much as possible. The movement here is really tight. These enemies are super fast and hit like trucks. Oh, nice. Yeah. See, now, the first one is like when I play. That is what happens when Ewing plays. And as I mentioned before, we really have never been able to use Zero because he gets, we auto swap back to X every time that we hit a boss mini door. But because we fought the 9th Maverick, Vava, or Vile, there is a new mini boss here that Zero can fight, and it actually has a scripted event if you beat the mini boss with Zero. So what we're going to do is set up for that right now, and the mini boss will just crush Zero.
Yeah, he served his purpose.
He had his ear pods in, I guess. I don't know. But we wait, and the reason that we do this is Zero dying here, because we can no longer select him at this point. He's headed back to the lab for repairs, but he's decided now would be a good time to give us the saber, which is okay, sure. Now we have a third charge to our buster. Whenever we have a full charge with the yellow, we also have access to the saber now too, which will give us a saber that does like 16. It's like basically half of every boss's health bar, and it will also allow us to perform a different glitch as well, called a neon, if you're familiar with it from X2, but it's actually a saber jump in this one. And what we're doing is we're canceling out the upward dash or horizontal dash.
Nice. Let's go.
And we were trying to do this in practice, and I could not get it done fast enough.
Well, that's because you're bad kid Sid.
So yeah,
Another finger, I just had it bashed against my chin.
Yeah, and the problem is the lag can be a little bit random depending on how the helix load in there. But yeah, basically we cancel our air dash by shooting the saber and jumping at the same exact time. The game gives us a jump in air, which we're not supposed to have, and then we can refresh our dashes out of that, so it allows us to get up that wall much quicker. We were also abusing a lot of iframes so that we could walk on instant death spikes, but you have a very tight window, and if you're on those spikes for a little bit too long, you will just die. So that was very, very good.
Oh yeah, that was crazy.
I think we have a few boss refights, and then we will have a little bit of time coming up. So I'll let you know as soon as we get there. We're going to do the leftmost boss here real quick so we can just kind of show off what the saber does first. Then we're going to do a couple of quick kills so you guys can kind of see. And then the rest of the fights are just tagging with the saber.
Yeah, this thing is so OP. You don't even need full health to use it.
It's honestly like even in 100%, we consider the buster a downgrade because it requires you to charge up much more to get access to the saber, while in any percent, you get this super quick. And one of the things that we have been doing that I kind of didn't mention is you'll notice we're shooting the first shot off screen. We want to despawn that as soon as possible so that the saber is usable, because while it's on screen, we cannot saber at the same time. So what we're doing is we're dumping the shot so that we're freeing up the space to use the saber. Sometimes we'll shoot that into an invincible enemy so it deletes immediately, but for the most part, it's just a method so that we get saber quicker. So round 2 electric boogaloo, except this time we have a saber. Remember that I said there's multiple frames where he's vulnerable? The saber doesn't stop. So it hit for 16 multiple frames back to back and just one-shotted. It's very close to the Shoryuken, except you don't have to do any fighting game inputs, and you don't have to have full health or all the upgrades. You can just fight one extra boss, and Zero gives it to you. It's a very big upgrade that makes this game a lot more reasonable casually. Now, if you remember, we had to mash to get rid of this guy last time. Not so much. Now we're good to go. We've got a little bit of time here. We've got like 30 or 40 seconds of explosions, so feel free.
That is absolutely perfect timing because we did just hit the Great Master Challenge for Astrobot. Give yourselves a round of applause, audience, Twitch chat. Thank you so much. So we will be seeing that, which is super exciting. I have $50 from Yami Caro. I'm excited to see the Mega Man X3. Let's get the Astrobot incentive met. We did. Thank you so, so much. $25 from Drake Endrit. The Mega Man X series has been a childhood favorite of mine. Also, I love that Project X Zone 2 has a great remix of X3's opening stage theme, so I'm giving 25 lemons to taking down the Maverick known as Cancer. Thank you so much for your donation. I have $25 from Extended Jet 8. Gotta donate for X3. I love the SNES MMX trilogy. Great start to the week. Let's go AGDQ 2025.
Yeah, so the rest of these fights are pretty much just charge, bait. Well, here I had to bait his claw since his AI is always set to like block any charge shot.
Yeah.
And then in the previous fight, you notice I like defeated the Buffalo without even looking at him. The Saber actually starts behind X.
Yeah.
So it's like a frame 1 kill.
It takes like 1 or 2 frames for it to like initiate the hitbox in front. So it is faster to hit with the back of the saber, but it is quite a bit dangerous because the hitbox is in a very like small area. So a lot of people will use the front of the saber most of the time to make their lives easier. It was a pretty consistent setup. He usually like jumps around in the same spot. Tiger is one of the ones that's the worst because he'll automatically put up his guard if he's on the ground while you're doing a charge shot. Yeah. So your options are either wait till he jumps and get the toe claw, clip his claws with the saber, or just let him put his claws up and wait for him to put him back down. It's kind of a pick your own poison situation. Luckily, Beat Bud here won't go deep enough to trigger his invincibility, so yeah, it's almost always going to be that orb, I think.
Yeah, he's like the only random aspect of the refights. You can't do anything to take away his invincibility without using Ray Splasher.
Yeah, and then it's just like you're going to be in the same casino of will he do it again or not.
And Tiger here will actually have a slightly different AI pattern. It's very dangerous, actually. Like, we're kind of lucky we don't have to deal with this in the actual, like...
Yeah, this is the enhanced AI I was talking about. He can go invincible at any time, so he could theoretically go invincible, or this is the big change, the shortstop, actually.
Yeah, that was a mix-up.
Those are kind of... If you know they're coming, you can optimize the fight around them, but the fact that they're completely random makes it, like, impossible to optimize around. I think it's quicker in, like, a task setting, because you can make him go shorter, but I'm not 100% certain on that. It's just kind of a... this last hallway here can be kind of rough, too. There's going to be a couple of beams here that we want to try and get through without getting hit. And there we go.
No way, I didn't get hit at all. That's hard to do.
Yeah, most of us got to take that mercy health at the end because we actually need to face tank a hit here to make sure the saber lands. Dr. Doppler has a absorption field after he's hit the first time. And I'm sure a lot of players didn't understand what's going on. So we want to make sure to hit him with the saber, let him do the little green absorption field, and then hit him again. But we got to wait. So we dump the shot off to the side, and then we're trying to hit him as he's putting the absorption field away, but unfortunately it didn't work out that way.
Yeah, at this point, just...
A little bit slow, but it works.
As long as he dies.
Yeah. As long as he's the one that dies, yeah.
Yeah, just a tad bit too early, because I was trying to, like, time it just so I can charge as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Because it's pretty tight trying to get the second hit on him.
The timing between him putting the barrier back up is kind of rough. Luckily, though, I think, if I remember correctly, when he puts the barrier up, if the saber would kill him, I don't believe he can absorb the HP because he's dead before he would siphon it back in.
Oh, this is the last stage of the run.
Yep. This area is infamous. A lot of people have to camp here with ice for refilling stuff. The movement here can be pretty rough in general. It's a really nasty vertical segment here, and even though we have like the saber neons, it allows us better movement, but it also makes it a little bit harder to get through here. And this funnel boss is going to be 3 phases. We're going to have Captain America or Shield Sigma, and then we will have the other one, which we'll talk about in a bit. So with this boss, we're going to try and hit the saber at a very specific spot there so that we tab him before he gets here. This is a free phase. Pretty much every runner will go for the toe there if you get a chance. This is super safe.
Yeah, I missed the first hit, so I couldn't really do the quick kill.
Yeah, luckily the thing is the fire pattern is like, I think it's always high, low, mid.
Yeah, it's consistent.
So you always have the same pattern repeating twice, so it's just a matter of like stand, jump, dash, and you can always repeat that same pattern. So as long as you're maintaining your position, dodging the fire is actually pretty decent. It's only when you add in the mix of trying to hit with saber that's an issue. So this is Kaiser Sigma.
Oh, no.
Anybody that got here probably has lost many lives.
Ooh, that was so slick.
Yeah,
man.
so
nice improv.
We wanted to get the saber off really early, but we kind of missed the opportunity. The hitbox on his head is very wonky. So we need to make sure to hit with the saber correctly. We could have abused taking a hit, so we were completely invincible. But missing that first hit, it was a much better play to hold on to the HP and have it in our back pocket. And this is the 3rd phase. We're just lagging the game out as we can. This is lag.exe.
This is the final boss of the game.
Yep.
A wireframe.
Yeah, we got to go all the way up to the top here. And then, yeah, we're pretty much safe now, I think.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, you can die here. In any percent, you really can die here. The lava does do 1 hit per.
So we got time coming up.
Yep.
Now.
Down.
Yep.
But yeah, it was pretty good. Pretty good run. The Tiger Orange, he was fantastic.
You beat my PB, man. From 10 years ago.
GG.
Yeah. Well, got anything to say?
No, that's Mega Man X3. That's one of my favorite games.
The run speaks for itself. I don't got to say anything.
Yep.
Oh yeah, and
Yeah,
Dr. Doppler's our friend now, I guess.
Yeah. If you don't kill 0 for the saber, which is like good percent, the good ending percent, that's the only category that you'll do that with.
Good person.
Yeah, I mean, any category without saber is not a category worth playing, honestly. Because the hitbox on Final Sigma is just a mess, and more often than not, it's going to eat your charge shots. It's super frustrating.
All right. Well, thank you, GDQ, for allowing me to show my favorite game. This is the second time I ran it. Last time was a long time ago. I think it was my first GDQ, like 2014.
Yep.
And I'm using the same cartridge that this guy ran on 10 years ago. I don't know if it's to the date, but it's a long time.
Just about. And you did it way more justice than I did, man. You beat that time by like a minute and a half.
That was, like I said, I'm about as nervous as you guys when I was doing that climb.
Yeah, the elevator skip is the number one killer of runs.
Yeah, it's very tough. Yep. Thank you for commentating, guys.
Yeah,
Thanks for having us,
Thanks
man.
for having us. I appreciate it.
Even though this is bad, Kid Sid.
Yeah. That's what he always says.